Hello my friends and welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at a couple of my favorite recent Chinese offerings. These are P136s from Majohn, both of them in titanium. One is a hammered pattern, the other one is smooth. So we're going to take a quick look. They come in usual Majohn boxes like the other pens that they send. So the first one is the one with a smooth finish. They come in a regular box. It has an extra O-ring here for the nib section, I'm guessing. Nice looking pen. It somewhat resembles the Majohn 146, actually quite a bit. Right down to the 3 cap rings in the design of the clip. So it's kind of a shame that they pretty much copied the whole pen all the way through. And if you look at some of the online videos that were posted earlier, even the parts on these are interchangeable. For example, you can use the Majohn cap to make your Majohn 146 into a duet. It's very nice, isn't it? So this is the first one. Before we go into more details, we'll open up the second one as well. This is the one with the hammered pattern, which is actually the more prettier one. The size of these are the same. They're both exactly the size of the Majohn 146. The hammered pattern continues on the cap, but is not continued closest to the lip. It's also not continued on the finial. So uncapping this pen takes 1 hour and 40 minutes of turning. So basically just below 1 3/4. And I'm guessing that the other one is the same. Yeah. Turn it again. 1 1.5. Well, it's closer to 1.5, so maybe a little bit off, but the caps are interchangeable. And like I said earlier, they're also interchangeable with the Majohn 146. The gold trims are very nice. They're not super flashy and reflective like some of the other Chinese pens. They're kind of subtle and pleasant to look at, actually. So uncapping the pen takes us to the section and the nib. This pen has the ink window. Both of them do. It's quite functional. It's easy to see the ink through. It kind of has a blue hue. The ink windows came with kind of a blue tint on them already. So somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. I also did have blue ink in these, so I could be wrong. Both of these came with the Majohn nib section. The Majohn nibs are branded Moon Man. They do look pretty good, and as we'll see, they actually perform okay. I don't mind them too much, but there's a trick up this pen sleeve, just like the V200, that we're going to take a look at, and that makes this pen 10 times as interesting. So the piston on this, like we said earlier, is pretty much interchangeable with the 146 based on the videos I've seen, but I can also just test that out myself. The piston for 146 and 149 use the same tool. So if you have the tool, you put the tool in the grooves and then screw this all the way in so that you don't damage when you try to undo this. It opens the conventional way, lefty loosey. Pretty good. Look pretty similar, does not fit. As you see, the screw section here is a little bit thicker on the Majohn than it is on 146. This is the 146 Legrand. It's the more modern 146. So we just established that the 146 piston doesn't really fit. The nib section also doesn't fit because the nib section on the 146 is not a Bock 250 nib section. The nib section on Majohn P136 is actually compatible with Bock 250. Okay, back to normal operating condition. The nib on these are on arrival, which is the usual Majohn nibs. As you see, the one on the right, I have actually put a Bock 250 nib on there, Bock number 6. I would say the Moonman nib is at least as pretty as the Bock 250. The grip sections are the same, pretty much, except for the brushed look here. The threads are actually very comfortable to hold, not very sharp. And the ink windows are the same on both of them. The pattern on the hammered version is quite intriguing. I don't have any other pens with this kind of pattern. I know Montblanc makes the solitaires, a couple of them that look like this, but I don't have one of those. But this has a texture on it. If you look at it closely enough, there's a texture. It's a kind of granulated texture. I imagine the pistons on both of these pens are the same piston. On hand, they're pretty weighty, but not overwhelming, if you ask me. They're heavier than the resin Montblanc 146s and also the resin P136s that we've had in the past, but by no means uncomfortable to hold. So what do you say we ink these and take a look how they write? Here I have a mixture of Gustav Klimt and Darmine Oxford Blue. We'll try this. If you haven't seen this Penhydra inkwell, I highly recommend. It takes about 10 milliliters of ink. It can be found on Amazon for about $30 to $35. I don't know if it goes on sale or not, but you just unscrew the nib, unscrew the piston upside down, put the ink in, close it all the way, down, remove. This one, let's put the Montblanc Olympic Red. There are very, very few red inks that are as pretty. Let's test out the Bock 250 nib on here. We put the Montblanc Olympic Red ink in here, so again the same So I've had many of the V200s with Bock 250 nib, and I generally get the extra fine nibs. They're kind of scratchy and unpleasant to write with. This nib I hadn't used before, and this is the first time I'm using it, and I'm actually surprised that the nib is quite smooth for an extra fine. And you can see that compared to the fine from Majohn, it's pretty fine. It is very nice. It probably puts it 0.35, between 0.3 and 0.35 line width. And if I didn't have any other nibs I liked more, I wouldn't mind using this nib actually. It's a little bit less juicy compared to the Majohn nib, but nonetheless it works. And we're going to do what I like to do to P136. So it's simple as just pulling the. So what I have done is I have taken the Pilot number 30 nib 823, which is also friction fitted, and remember this feed, it fits directly over the Majohn feed. I'm going to put it like this, get our Majohn pen, and push it in, adjust it a bit. There we go. There we go, Pilot number 30 nib and Majohn P136, the titanium. You can see that it writes pretty much instantly. Has done remarkable. Very, very smooth, fine nib from the Pilot pen. The Pilot pen is already pretty good, but if you ask me, the Pilot pen is not, the body is not as good as this one. So I think this is one of the best options for this pen, is to have a Pilot nib, and it is pretty much unbeatable. When you have a Pilot 823 nib and this pen, the pen feels pretty much indestructible and looks very well too. Anyway, so this is this, but I'm still not 100% satisfied. So what else can we do to this pen? Here's the biggest surprise of the day, is that you can just unscrew this Bock unit with the Pilot nib. There are a few nibs that compete with favorably with the Pilot 823, and one of them is Pelikan M800. So this is a Pelikan M800 nib. This is a nib section from the flexible nib factory that fits a Bock 250. That fits the it's a Bock 250 section that fits the Pelikan M800. For those who are wondering, removing the Pelikan M800 nib is not that difficult. It might be stuck a little bit, so you just soak it for a few minutes in water. Otherwise, you put your hand like this. If you have to grab with some rubber, do it. Just pull it. There you go. This is the Pelikan M800 nib unit, and this can go directly into the Bock 250 adapter from Flexible Nib Factory to be put on Majohn P136. I'll put this back in. There we go. So I got this from them. It seems like perfect fit. We'll see for the first time actually if this fits the pen good enough. So far so good. I haven't ridden with this yet. I want to see how it rides. Let's do it. This M800 fine nib is pretty smooth. It sings a little bit if you notice. Of course not when I'm trying to show. It's very smooth, kind of like the 823 medium nibs. The fine nib on M800, I would say, writes the lines equal to the 823 medium nib. They're both very smooth compared to the fine 823 nib that I had previously. This is a little bit more smooth, but of course the fine nib on that one is very fine. So that is actually my preference, but this is super smooth. As a side note, if you're in the market for an M800 and want the smoothest nib and best performance, I would go with the fine nib. And in my experience, it has been better than the medium. Medium is kind of like a brush, and the extra fine nib on M800s are, to my experience, a little bit poorly done. They become scratchy over time, and then you have to keep smoothing them, and not the best experience. They're still pretty good. So that's the riding experience with these. These pins are very nice to ride with. Unfortunately, they are kind of a clone of, physically close clone of the Majohn 146, but Majohn 146 already has its status. It's an icon in pen industry. This pen is not going to affect, I don't think it's going to affect the Majohn 146 sales or marketing. Nonetheless, this does come off as a clone. It is a beautiful pen. They work very well. Even the Moonman nibs that came with the original pen and the Bock nib, the Bock 250 nib units work perfectly. You can also put in a variety of nibs on here, just straight over the Moonman nib. For example, one of the vintage Majohn 146 nibs would fit there perfectly. So you can do a lot of experimentation. For me, I leave this with the nibbed, not inked, with the Pilot 823 nib, and I put the Pelikan nib back into the Pelikan where it belongs. Although it's pretty nice. Maybe I should keep it. Yeah, I'll keep it. I'll put the Pilot nib into the other one, and these are really hard to beat. The price of these pens, they're sold anywhere from $130 to about $180. If you ask me whether this is worth that $180 as a Chinese pen, generally people would say no, but having experimented with a lot of Chinese pens, including the Majohn P600, Majohn 600, which is a very nice pen. Also, it's a ebonite pen. The Chinese pens are kind of catching up, and they are adjusting their prices to match. I have no problem with that, considering that their quality is actually going up pretty good. I'm waiting for Jinhao to start getting into premium pen market like Winsung has. So I hope you found this entertaining and a little bit informative. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Otherwise, I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.